Here we go. Hey there, kids. Hi, welcome to the Child of Mecha live stream. I'm your host, Tim, the one and only Child of Mecha. And it's, what's today? Thursday. Thursday? It's really, Jesus, where's the week gone? It's Thursday. Yeah, the week has gone by this whole time has gone by very quickly. This is crazy. Anyway, welcome. We did some good work last night on this new gun for the Shiki, and I'm really liking how this thing is turning out. It's a good one. It's a good one. Anyway, yeah, let's jump in. Let's get to work. Let's go. All right, so small recap from last night here real quick. Let's go super zoom so we can see a little bit better detail. Let's get this in camera. Oh, there we go. So just a quick recap from last night. So we swapped out the static rods for the springs. That's going to make installation of these so much easier because these can bend where the rods can't. And the reason why we put these in there, the reason why we need to get them to bend for installation is because we capped off this, the opening here where the rods were inserted, but now we replaced that with this nice little vent feature on both sides, which I really freaking love the look of. Beveled the corners to match the vent profile, kind of in a graduated way there. That's really a cool little feature, and that's on all four of the corners there. Really like that. And that took a lot of work last night, I won't lie. Matching those up, filling in this little pre-molded indent and everything, and making it all, you know, just kind of one piece. But yeah, so that's kind of where we are with the gun so far. We're going to continue on here today, getting this, you know, kind of moving forward and getting the form kind of fleshed out, if you will. And yeah, just really a good look, and I'm so happy with it so far. But let's see, Julius, he says good morning. Hey Julius, how are you, sir? PTS says, should I be concerned? My mom bought me the Master Grade Banshee Unicorn Gundam for my birthday, and apparently other people say it sucks. I'm not 100% sure. I've never owned a Gundam Unicorn. I've heard they can be. I've heard that they can be kind of hand grenades, but you know, there's no way to know until you build it. You know, Zaku Aurelius, good friend, and you know, he does reviews and stuff like that. I'd see if he maybe has a review on it. He's probably one of the more, well, probably the most in-depth reviewer out there, and kind of the most unbiased, I guess, reviewer as well. So yeah, I'd watch to see, well, look to see if he's got any you know, reviews on that and see what he says. But yeah, I don't know firsthand. I've never built one myself. So let's see, Orfeo, yay, caught another one live, and I am I guess at work, I don't know, listening to Tim while building off work, gotcha. Listening to Tim build while building my SNAA Tristan Greatsword model. Hell yeah. Nice, dude. Nice. And then Brandon's with us. What's going on, Brandon? Oh, hey, Brandon, your package is out for delivery. I sent you the actual link to the UPS tracking last night on Instagram. So Yeah, I just checked it a few minutes ago. It's out for delivery. So FYI, FYI. So, all right, you guys, let's get let's get busy. Let's get back to this and see what our next move is here. So what I'm thinking is start to kind of pay a little bit of attention back here. You know, we paid a lot of attention to the barrel section and the mid section and things like that, but we haven't really paid a lot of attention to the back end here. So let's start with that, right? First thing I want to do, let's get this thing broken down, get the barrel off to the side here, and then here, watch, the deinstallation is fun too, or the disassembly, watch. So if I pull the spring here, right, watch, it bends out, and then I can just pop it, and that's easy. Where'd it go? Oh, there it is. Fell into the little corner area here of the 1, 2, 3 blocks. Oh, now it doesn't want to come out. Come on, you. Oh, because of the magnets. Alright, it got stuck in the magnets. Alright, same thing. Bloop. There we go. And that just pops right out. Super easy. Alright. So, let's get the visor on first. Ugh. Let's see here real quick. Brandon says, perfect. Thank you, sir. You're welcome, buddy. Thank you. Let's see. Enrico is with us, finally watching one of these while building, decaling up my RE100 Vingagina, designed and printed my own custom decals. Nice, dude. I like that. I like that. Bill's with us. Hey, Bill. I had a Banshee Verka before. It was a fun build and a cool model. Had a few issues, but nothing major. Remember, it was really stiff in the joints. Got it. Okay. So, yeah, so for PTS, maybe just kind of maybe scrape down some of the tighter pegs then. In that case, make it a little bit easier to, you know, bend and everything. Just a little bit, nothing crazy. Brandon says, I miss the springs. Where are they from? Enrico, are those Wave A springs? Nice upgrade visually and practically. Yes, these are the 3mm Wave just springs. So, yeah. It's like it's like when you were a little kid and those little spring door stoppers, you know, you would go over to your grandparents' house and just do this like for 10 minutes and they would yell at you. At least mine did. Timmy, stop it! I'd just be like, bang, bang. Anyway. Oh, shit, just being stupid. Anyway, all right, so, good memory, though. Good memory. All right. Get that out of there. So, what I want to do first, this part back here bugs me, and we'll get to this. We'll get to this big block of just blank space. But my attention first wants to go to this little block up here, because I have an idea in mind of what we can do with that. Now, first and foremost, I need to see what the width of this thing is, right? That looks to be about 3mm. Yeah, basically 3mm. A little under. It's about 2.9mm. Okay. So, that does present a small-ish challenge for us, but nothing that we can't overcome. Because what I want to do is add a strip of plastic down the front face of this thing, right? To make it look like it's overlapping this corner of this big ugly block thing. So that's kind of what I'd like to do first here. Let's see. That's not long enough. That should come in handy right there. Yeah. Okay. Cool. All right. So, first things first, we need a straight edge on one side first. So let's get that evened up on the chopper. Okay. So we've got a nice straight edge. Very nice. Now we need to cut this to length. And for that, we do need to be a wee bit careful. All right. So first things first, I'm just going to clip off just a random length that is longer than what we need, just so that we don't have to mess around with the strip of plastic here, right? Okay, right there. And then I'm going to take my little pen scriber and mark right along the side. There we go. Very nice. Mark right along that side of the width that we need, right? Let's see. Brandon says, sweet, love the upgrade. Much better than the rods. Yeah. So on last night's stream, I was giving Handren some shit, right? Hasaki Art, you know, for those that don't know, but he's been on my ass about, you know, what are you going to do with the rods? How are you going to detail those? You should do this, you should do that, right? And I was just like, you know what, dude's not wrong. The rods were just a placeholder. So I had to come up with kind of a solution that would allow me to cap those ends, but then still be able to have those, you know, pipes be able to installed after the fact, you know, just in case if I wanted to paint them or whatever. So I think the springs are a really kind of elegant solution at this point. So I was pretty happy with that. So yeah, he'll whenever he catches up, he'll be like, "Aw, see, told you so." But yeah. And George was on here last night, and he's just like, anything to make Handren happy, right? So yeah, pretty much that. All right, so let's get this piece cut to the width that we need it here. Now this is going to be a bit delicate. Right there. So I can't really cut this on the chopper. There we go. All right, I think. All right, that's not too bad. That's fairly square. We're gonna just kind of scrape this down just to even that up. Very nice. Okay, cool. So let's check the width here comparative to this. And good. That looks pretty good. But now I'm thinking, like, do I want to go, because this is 1 millimeter strip. Do I want to go full 1 millimeter, or do I want to vary it up and go maybe 1/2 millimeter. I'm thinking maybe 1/2 millimeter now. All right, let's get rid of that. All right, that was kind of a waste. But anyway, that, you know, that's what we do. Sometimes you gotta see it to be able to pivot. You know what I mean? So, Lorenz is with us. What's going on, buddy? Good to see you. He says, morning, guys. Excellent. All right, let's kind of pivot. And let's do square up one end, right? And let's try to get the length that we need here real quick. Jeez. Right, about there. All right, let's see if we can manage this on the chopper. Not bad. Still a little off. We can trim that down. We can trim that down. All right. Good stuff, though. Good stuff. Okay, so let's get this piece here. Actually, what I'm going to use is this. I haven't used this much on stream. This is a chisel blade. And basically what this is a hobby knife, but it has a flat edge. So it's not, you know, obviously at an angle like a true hobby knife, but this is really good for just kind of making straight cuts and everything. And like I said, this is very, very handy. In certain use cases. Something like this is one of those cases. So just make sure that is straight. And see, we just shaved off just the tiniest little sliver there, right? So I want to see now what that looks like. Okay, so we need to take off, man, just a little bit more. Nothing crazy, but just a little teeny tiny bit. Yeah. About a 1/10 of a millimeter, I'd say. Have to straighten that up, that beveled the edge there a little bit, but that's pretty good. Okay, so with that, let's kind of flatten our edge, and that should get us right where we need to be. That edge is nice and flat. And now, yeah, that looks just about perfect. Yeah, nice and parallel. Sweet. All right, so there's our strip that we're gonna kind of put down the front edge there. Now, one thing that we're gonna have to do is bevel one edge to kind of meet the angle in here, that inner corner, right? So let's do that here. And this is so thin, just scraping is perfectly fine. There we go. All right, cool. So let's get a little super glue. Let's get this guy laminated on here and get it looking right. That's too much super glue. We need to take a little bit off. All right. There we go. There we are. Very nice. All right, cool. So that's on there now. Trim the excess off there. And now very good. All right, so we'll just use our little jeweler's file just to even out the surface and make that look real nice and smooth. There we are. Very nice. All right, so there you can kind of see what we're doing here, right? So that adds a little, just kind of overlay to the front here of this little block. And then once this is painted up, this will look like it overlaps and everything, which will be a very nice look. So yeah, that looks good. All right, so now I want to go about addressing this big back end here. Let's get caught up real quick, yeah? Let's see. Bren says, massive blackout at work, so I just went home and watching the stream. Nice. Nice, dude. You kind of live for those days, right? I remember the last job, we had one day where our systems were completely down to start the day. And we were all just sitting around for maybe like an hour or so. And yeah, best way to start a day. But man, being sent home, oh, even better. Even better. So, Cullen Barr, 07. And then Lorenz, 07. What does that mean? I don't know what that is, you guys. What is the 07? Fill me in. Life Death is with us. Good morning, y'all. What's up, Dallas? Good to see you, buddy. All right. So, what I'm thinking for this back section here. What I'm thinking is we probably go simple in terms of plastic, but then we go a little bit more detail when it comes to scribing. Yeah. Lorenz says salute. Oh, 07 means to salute? I did not know that. Rock and roll. All right, cool. Well, I will save that away here. All right. So yeah, like I said, I don't want to do anything too crazy back here at this point, just because like I said, I don't want to go nuts with the plastic. I would rather go nuts with the scribing back here, you know? Maybe some notches, some nice panel lines, things like that. That's kind of what I'm thinking at this point. So what I think we'll do is just something really subtle and something simple. And probably 1/2 mil. Yeah, that looks good. Something like that. Yeah. Okay. What length of strip do we need here? I'm thinking... I'm thinking 5mm. 5mm strips. I think that'll look good. All right, but first, we need to put some bevels on this thing, and let me show you how to do that. I want to bevel the ends of these strips. So there's a process to that, and it's a kind of a 2-to-1 process, right? So, say for instance, if you want, O is the head, 7 is the arm, it's an emoji. Oh, gotcha. Okay. See, does that come through on the chat that you guys see? Because I just see the 07 on my side, so it may not come through. So, I gotcha. I see it now, the 07, yeah. Okay. Gotcha. So, anyway, so if you want to make a bevel, if you want to bevel these strips, it's a 2-to-1 ratio, right? So if you want a millimeter of bevel, then you set your stop block to 1/2 millimeter, right? So let's see what that looks like first. Since this is 1/2 mil plastic, we're just going to get this right in here. Actually, we need to clean the debris off the blade, because that's not going to help our cause here much. But we're just going to get this in here and just butt that right up against the blade, well, the strip, which is now acting as a spacer. Lift that up. Now we're going to put a 45 on this guy, so we need to find... where did our 45 go? There it is. Alright, so we're going to put a 45-degree bevel on. So this is the 45 here. We're going to pop that right up against the blade and then lock it down. Okay? So we've got a square edge here. And then what we're going to do is we're going to put this right up against here. And let me turn this so you can kind of see it maybe a little bit better. We're going to bump that right up against our stop block and make that quick cut. And then there's your 1 millimeter bevel, right? I think that's too much. Or maybe it's perfect now that I'm looking at it, because maybe we just bevel one side. Yeah, well, that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to just bevel one side. Okay, cool. So we're going to just cut this an arbitrary amount and then square up. Get that out of there. Put this back in place. And then cut our bevel there. All right, so now we have our two matching bevels, right? So what we need to do now is measure the length that we need, and then we'll make those matching cuts here too. So what did I say, 5 mil? Put that right on the 5 millimeter tick mark. Lock that down. Throw that off to the side, and now we're going to slide our bevel piece through, cut it to length. There's one piece, put that off to the side, and then this piece here will slide in. Now, I'm not going to risk my fingers holding this piece in place, so I'm just going to hold it there, chop it. And here's our two matching pieces, right? So that's the beauty of the chopper. It makes identical pieces very, very easily. All right. So let's see. Yeah, I like that. Yeah, I like that. All right. So and then what we'll do is we'll plate this right, we'll kind of offset this on the height of this block here. And I think, yeah, that'll add some good visual interest there. All right, let's get these surfaces real quick squared up. Good. Very good, very good, very good. Yep. All right, excellent. Okay, so now what we're gonna do, just take the corner there. Little super glue all the way around. Press that in. And then there we go. There's our pretty simple little panel. All right, very nice. Very, very nice. So I'm going to actually use the other tweezers here. Let me get the gunk off the tips here. Now I'm just using the back edge of my hobby knife just to scrape off the gunk on these. All right. These are a little bit finer in terms of holding, so I think these will be a bit better when it comes to fine placement. Ah, shit, I just glued the wrong side of that. Damn it. Okay, well. No matter. Like I said, it was easy to create that piece. We'll just create a new one. No big deal. There's the strip that we need. Alright, so here's what we got, right? We got our 1/2 mil. Our 1/2 millimeter strip. Let's clean off the junk in here. There we are. I'm looking for other 1/2 mil strip. There we go. Something longer that I can actually hold on to here. Okay, there's that. Lock that in. Boom. There's our bevel. There's our length, there's our piece. So, what was that? 30 seconds to make that little piece. So, yeah, not a big deal in the grand scheme of things, not a big deal. So now, just got to make sure that we're gluing up the correct side here. So, I need to glue up this side. Orfeo, we'll get to your question here in just a second here, bud. Let me get this thing glued into place. Very nice. Very nice, very nice, very nice. Okay. Perfect. There we go. Both sides. Cap that guy, put that off to the side. And so here we go. You can see there's maybe a little, maybe millimeter reveal down here, right? And that looks even on both sides. You can kind of see placement looks good there. Placement looks even there as well. Yeah. Excellent. Excellent. All right, so let's get to the questions here. Because it looks like we got a couple now here. Orfeo is up first. Let's... Boom, right there. We have a question! Orfeo says, something I need advice on is how to drill holes in perfect line or a perfect triangle, square, etc. Saw the blade you made and remember I always want to ask that. Gotcha. So holes in a perfect line, right? Let's show you on this scrap piece, yeah? So what I would do first, if you have, you know, like a T-square, scribing jigs, Dymo tape, anything that will, you know, help you mark a straight line, that's what you're gonna want to do first, right? Now what I would do, either maybe with the back of your hobby knife, or, you know, maybe if you have like a little pen chisel, something like that, you want to just mark a very, very light line, right? Because we're not scribing here. We're just marking. Just something very, very light. And you're not going to be able to see this on here because the light, you know, just kind of blows it out. But there's a very light indent from my pen scriber going all along there. And then what you'll do is with the same pen scriber or even your hobby knife, you can go along this line and just mark your hole placement, right? I'll just do a few and then we'll go mega zoom and I'll show you kind of what I did here, yeah? All right, mega zoom coming in. All right. So, oh, that's dust. So there you go. So there's the holes, right, in a perfectly straight line. And let's see if I can get the shadow to cast on that light line that I scribed there. You can yeah, there you go. Okay, so now that my big ass finger's out of the way, you can kind of see the line right here that I scribed, right there, going right down the, you know, right down the piece here. And all of these are like basically little pilot holes, right? And then those are your drilling points, right? You can mark those out with a ruler or whatever, you know. You know, once you're done drilling, just sand that surface smooth. That very, very light line should go away very easily. You know, as long as you didn't, you know, apply a ton of pressure at that point, right? Now in terms of circles, triangles, now I know like the little three kind of that three kind of triangle, you know, the three holes in a pattern is very Gundam-esque. And same rule applies. You know, mark it out with your, you know, hobby knife or your pen scriber or whatever you have, and very, very lightly. That's the key. Very, very lightly, and then use that line as your guide to kind of, you know, press in your pilot holes, and then you go and drill those, and yeah, should be good to go at that point. So yeah, that's what I would do. Bill says, Orfeo either use guidelines or a guide to stop. To keep everything perfect. Personally, I would take a strip of styrene and attach this styrene pipe. You can butt this against a stop and it will keep your drill. Yeah, I mean, that's another method as well. Absolutely. Excuse me. Life Death, Mr. Dallas, he's got a question for us.
We have a question.
He says, Tim, how did you make your sanding blocks? And what do you use to saw? Do you sand and what do you use or haul? I don't know. To sand in small areas. Yeesh, that's a good call. Sanding in small areas is always tough. It's always tough because some places are not easy to get to. Things like that. Now, normally, what I would do, if the surface isn't too bad, I'll just scrape it down with my hobby knife, and just make it, you know, super smooth. How? Sorry. Okay. How do you? Gotcha. Yeah, I would personally, yeah, just kind of scrape the plastic if it's not too bad. Otherwise, what I'll do, I don't know if I have an example here. What is this? Oh, oh, no. Is that not it? Hang on a second here. Let me see. Is that one of these? I think it is. Okay, yeah, it is. Okay, cool. So, just what I sometimes do is get like cut a little strip of plastic here, right? And cut it into kind of a U shape, and then using my grippy tweezers here, I will grip that right up at the end, and now we have kind of that loop. And then what we do, we can just flatten that out into like a T shape, and then the pressure of the tweezers, you'll be able to kind of lightly sand a piece, right? So using something like this, and this is our example block, you just kind of go along and just do whatever sanding that you need to do in those tight little areas, right? Just something bloop, 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 just like that. Makes it pretty easy. But yeah, I mean, sanding in small areas is never an easy ordeal, for sure. And then the sanding blocks, these guys right here, these are, so this is 180 grit, but it's worn down quite a lot. So I don't think that's 180 grit anymore. But these are just 1/4 inch MDF pieces, and yeah, here's what it looks like in the raw, right? They're just blocks of MDF, all that, just nothing special about it. But for mine, what I did, I've got kind of 3 of them here, and they're very, very super smooth. I had the genius idea, which was not a genius idea, to coat these all in super glue. So these are now impregnated essentially with super glue. This is a hardened block of MDF now, and I've got it in 180, 400, and 600 right now. Those are my 3, and like I said, all of these are sanded down, super smooth. I mean, you can kind of see the sheen of the light right there as I pass it over, right? So these are all very, very smoothly sanded. I forget what grit I went up to, but something pretty high. And it's sealed on all sides here too, just to make it a little bit more comfortable and not jagged or anything. But yeah, these are really, really quite handy. Kind of love these things. So yeah, I just made them myself out of just 1/4 inch MDF. So very inexpensive. And they don't have to be this big. You know, you can cut them into, you know, a 1/4 size here and just use that and just go to town, and shit, that would probably work just as well, if not better. But yeah, these were just kind of cut-offs that I had, so I figured, why not? Let's make them into something. So that's what I did. So yeah, super glue all over the surface, spread it out, let it cure. It's gonna stink to high hell when you first glue it, because that super glue is going to mix in with the binders and everything for the MDF, and it doesn't smell great. So do it in a well ventilated area. After that, come back, sand everything nice and smooth, and Bob's your uncle. So yeah, pretty easy stuff overall. Yeah. Let's see. Bill says always at the same relative always at the same relative to stop. Yeah. It also keeps your drilling at the same angle. There you go. Bingo. Yep. Brandon says Hobby Lobby sells nice tiny sanding sticks, work decent. I also have the Photo Etch Madworks sanding sticks that you can cut and stick on sandpaper too. Yeah, those are good. Ren says for really tiny areas, I use a toothpick with a tiny piece of sandpaper glued to the tip. Yeah. And then Bill says you can also buy some acrylic blocks at Hobby Lobby for pretty cheap. And double-sided tape and some sandpaper to them. Yeah, exactly. Acrylic would be good. Acrylic is super smooth, and you know, it's ready out of the gate. Where these need work, right? And mind you, the reason why I made these was really, honestly, kind of by accident. I was working on an older model, and I forget which model it was. It might have been Airdrop or something like that back in the early days. But I had one of these scraps, and I got super glue on it, and I just started kind of using it as a palette at that point, just, you know, for little applications and things. So it built up, so I'm like, oh man, now I gotta sand it down. And then as I sanded it, it got really, really smooth. So I'm like, well shit, that's kind of nice. That's a nice surface. Let's explore this, right? So I kept going with the super glue, and then yeah, here's the end product here. And you know, like Bill said, sandpaper, double-sided tape, boom, you got yourself a sanding block. So yeah, pretty simple stuff. What did I just step on? No, just scrap. No worries. Let's see. Just by A has aluminum sanding blocks, and Madworks has acrylic. I have both got them on sale. They both sell pre-sized sandpaper tape for them as well. Yeah. And I've seen those. Shit, I think I have. They weren't Madworks. I think they were. Yeah, here we go. Who are these by? Hobbymate. Okay. Yeah. So these types of things, right? These acrylic deals. And these are, don't get me wrong, these are really good too. And you can, you know, I've got a load of them here, right? I got a bunch. And these come with, obviously, the name Hobbymate. That's a store in Singapore. I ordered something from them back in the day, and they, I guess, threw these in. So this one is marked as 1,500. Here's 1,000. It's hard to see, but that says 600 there. Again, this says 400 on this one. Obviously, you can see how much wear and tear that's seen over the years. And then this one is marked 2,000, but that's not 2,000 on there. So yeah, I mean, these are highly useful too. Very stable. Very as I drop them, very stable, hard to break. Yeah, and comfortable in your hand. Nice good length. You can grip onto that and just kind of go to work. So yeah, the acrylic blocks work great too. Basically, whatever you got, you know, whatever you got comes in handy. Alrighty, 104. Excellent. Let's get back to it, shall we? All right. So we've got our plates popped in here. Like I said, I don't want to do too much aside from this on the back here, right? I kind of want to keep that simple so that we can do some scribing back there and everything. Let's put this thing together and see if there's anything else we need to do to it, because not 100% sure that there is anything else we need to do to it, kind of structurally, shape-wise and everything. Obviously, we need to detail this thing really well and get that going, but aside from what we got done, I don't know if there's anything structural. Anything else structural that we needed to do? Yeah, I'm kind of happy. I'm kind of happy with this. Yeah, that's a very good shape. A very... Shit. As I drop it. Very good silhouette, right? I dig that. I dig that. So that's going to look really nice. Yeah, I like all the shapes and everything. We kind of addressed the problem areas and all that. Okay. One area I do want to address here. That. The tank, right? Right now, a bit boring. A bit boring. Where did they go? Here we go. Okay. So, what I want to do... Here we go. We got our 6.5 millimeter scribing jig in here. So, first things first. Let's see. Perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. So 4.5, that gets us at center point on the end of the drum here, because I marked center point and everything like that, and that gets us right at center point from this flat part. So let's very lightly mark that. There we go. All right. Yeah, okay, cool. So there's that. And again, that's a very, very light mark. That'll sand out. We're going to mark this all the way across as well. Just like that. Okay. Now, what we want to do, here we are. Get our circle template out here. And let's see, this was what, 10 millimeter? Yeah, cool. Cool, cool, cool. All right. There, that's better. 8.5. Okay. So what I'm trying to do is get our perpendicular line set in here. There you are. All right. This is difficult to hold. All right, so there's our marks for our perpendicular. Now, let's see, 5.5. Yeah, 5.5 is too much, so we want the 5. There we go. It's a little off. There we go, that's better. All right, cool. So there's our points, right? Excellent. So now that we have that, now we can use the biggest scribing jig that we have here, right? And we can kind of line those points up. And make our straight line down the drum here. Now the trick is holding this godforsaken thing in place. Okay, there we are. Pencil, pencil, pencil. And see, there we go. Now we have a nice straight line down the tank, drum, whatever we want to call it. I don't know. Right there. Right there. Okay, so let's put this back onto the barrel section, eyeball this up, and make sure of what we got here, yeah? And do the eyeball test here. Come on, you. That line is a bit off. That looks good. That looks good. Yeah. This line is a bit off. This is not centered perfectly, and that's probably slipped or something as I was marking it. So that's not a big deal. Not a big deal whatsoever. So lightly sanding that off there, and then what we can do is kind of mark Yeah. Okay. Kind of same thing right there. All right. This needs to come over just a bit, I think, right there. Yeah, okay. So, let's see now what that looks like here. Alright, cool. Those two lines, those two marks that I did match up nice. Alright, let's get that back on the barrel. Let's eyeball that and see what we have. Yeah, okay. That looks pretty good. That's not bad. That's not bad. Okay. It's not bad at all. All right. Oh, boy. All right, let's get caught up, yeah? Bill says, trick is don't spend a bunch of money on sanding blocks. They're an easy DIY tool. Yeah. Spend $5 to $10 max and just find out what works. Talk to, just walk in Hobby Lobby, Lowe's, Home Depot, just look. Yeah. Look around at, and try things out for what might work. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So, Lelouch.
We have a question.
He says, what's your take on ChatGPT or AI for thinking out a project idea? On the fence at the moment because I'd hate to steal someone's work or previous idea without knowing or being unoriginal. That's okay. That's a great question. That is a great question. AI. AI is not great for a various number of reasons, right? You know, we see in the news right now with all the data centers and everything and kind of what they can do to a community, and it's bad, really fucking bad. Right now in Maryland, our energy prices are going through the roof because in direct, response to data centers around the area, which sucks. So, and then there's environmental impact and all that. And AI is not great in that regard, right? At the same time, it's one of those technologies that is not going anywhere. It's not. And we have to accept that. It is not going anywhere. Same type of thing when, when the automobile came out back in the early 1900s. There was, oh, well, you can't get rid of all the horses because all the horse and buggies and blah, blah, blah. And where are you going to drive these things? And they're a menace and they cause, pollution and yada, 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 all this, right? Here we are now. Everyone owns a car, basically, right? So it's one of those technologies that changes civilizations, like the automobile, like the invention of steel, the wheel, for Christ's sake, right? It's one of those technologies that does change a civilization, and we have to accept that. With that being said, getting down to Lelouch's question, because that's the existential side of things, the overarching, types of things, if you will, right? It's unavoidable, and it's going to help people, but it's also going to hurt people, like any great technology advance. You look at the advent of the internet, right? We get all of our information on the internet. What's that done to newspapers? What's that done to magazines? They're going out of business left and right because print media, for the most part, is dead. Mind you, I still love books, especially great art books. Like in my reels and stuff, like you can see the shelf of books and magazines that I have in the back, and I cherish those, right? But obviously, for ease of use, the internet is right there. It's easily accessible. So AI is not going anywhere. AI is going to both help and hurt. So at the end of the day, it's like a damned if you do and damned if you don't situation, right? There are nuances to this, which I don't think a lot of people take into consideration. There are many, many, many shades of gray. It's not black and white. It's a gradient of grays. So, you have to take the good with the bad. That's the high level stuff. But getting to the point. How is it for ideation? Coming up with ideas and brainstorming for a project. With generative AI that produces media, pictures, video, things like that. I don't like how the models have been trained unethically as they have, especially ChatGPT, Midjourney, those types of generative AIs. I'm not liking that because it has literally stolen works from people and taken the spirit of the art that people have made and the media that people have made, and they've amalgamated it. So I'm not a big fan of generative AI. Now, for typing, ideation, pattern recognition especially, AI is extremely good for. Pattern recognition is one of the big ones. It's helping in the medical field immediately. It almost had an immediate positive impact. It is catching for instance, like X-rays and CAT scans can be fed into AI, and they will see the tiniest, minute, little beginnings of, say, like a tumor or something start. And where a doctor would never be able to see it, AI sees kind of the patterns and everything, puts it together, and it's just like, yeah, there's a tumor growing in here. You got to take a look at it, essentially, right? So that is a huge positive impact of AI that we have to really applaud. But for ideation, coming up with ideas, things like that, I don't see a huge issue with it. You have to be specific in, what you are kind of thinking. You have to have kind of a goal in mind, I think, too. But using it for ideation, using it for brainstorming ideas, coming up with, those types of things, I don't have a huge problem with that personally. I've done it. I've come up, you know, it's funny because I've come up with, and I've gone down the rabbit hole on you know, some of these conversations with AI and stuff like that. You know, I've come up with whole dossiers of different, you know, thought up mobile suits and things like that. And, you know, I'll come up with the idea in my mind and kind of, you know, work with AI to flesh it out and everything. And, you know, it's done some really cool things. Nothing that I've ever put into, you know, practice or anything like that at this point. But for ideation, I think it's perfectly fine. And it can also, too, some of the ideas that it spits out, you'll be like, oh, that's kind of a good idea, but oh, that gives me a better idea, right? So having AI kind of grease the wheels can get your, you know, imagination going too. So yeah, at that point, AI for coming up with ideas, kind of brainstorming and everything like that, I don't think it's a huge deal. Just don't, you know, in my opinion, just don't use it for generating images and stuff like that. That works on my nerves. This trend, and I'm sure you guys have probably seen it, where AI takes the pictures that you've done and, you know, puts it into this, you know, kind of 3-panel composition in the background, and then, you know, there's a foreground image of your model, and then it's got the little, you know, type at the bottom, and it's getting old. It's getting real old, and I kind of hate seeing some of my friends use it. I'm like, oh, dude. But, you know, to each their own. But yeah, AI in general, it's got its good and bad. It's got its pros and cons. Nothing is black and white. There's nuance to all of it. The data centers suck. And I don't know how we as a people, as a civilization, overcome that, because they are needed for AI to prosper and to reach its full potential. Yeah, I don't know what the answer is, honestly. I don't, and that's above my pay grade. You know, but to answer your question, Lelouch, and I know I kind of got off on a tangent there. Yeah, I don't see brainstorming with AI to be a problem. Yeah, I don't see it as a problem whatsoever. So go for it. Just don't use AI for artwork or images, video, and stuff like that. Yeah, that would be my thing. So, but that's a really good question, dude. It's a really, really good question. And one, honestly, I could probably take an entire show to talk about, because I know you guys have kind of lit up the chat here, and, you know, we'll get caught up, you know, with what you guys think here in a second. But yeah, I mean, yeah, use it to grease the wheels. Use it to grease the wheels. That's what I would say. So, Brandon says, I think if you tell AI your ideas and use it to tweak / refine your own original ideas, it's fine. Yeah, see, there you go. That's another great insight. Gumpler for Joy, what's going on, dude? Good afternoon, everyone. Waiting for a flight home, so I'm glad to be able to catch the day stream. Hey-o, sweet. Let's see, Lelouch says, that's what I've been thinking of, Brandon. I saw there's an option to add personal images to use on what it'll render, just running low on brain power and feeling a bit of mental block. I gotcha. So Lelouch, let me ask you this. Is it kind of a visual type of thing that you're going for? Like you're kind of out of ideas, like to what to do on your model kind of visually? Is that kind of the challenge at this point? While we wait for his answer, let's continue on. Gumpa for Joy. Currently in Texas, heading home to Colorado. Nice. Enrico says, done with the Vingagina's legs. Went kind of Kotoki with the Hyaku decals. Bro. And I've been waiting for an opportunity to drop this on you guys, but here we go. Get you some Mecha Decals, bro. Come on. The Haikus are good. Mecha Decals are better. He says, time to eat something real quick and head to work. Very nice. Enrico, take care, man. Couple for Joy says, Lelouch, I agree with Brandon. Feed it some of your thoughts and see what it says. Yeah, the use of AI is a whole philosophical topic. Yeah, exactly. Brandon says, fighting against the data center that's trying to go right by my home. Oof. He says, I'm pissed. Yeah, I would be too. And Buck, what's going on, dude? He says, I live in a rural data center community. It sucks big time. Yeah. The water usage, the electricity pool, both of those are just bad. Real bad. Oh God, I forgot where. I think it was a data center in Wisconsin or something like that. I saw a news story, and the lady lives a few hundred yards from the data center, and it's separated by like a retaining pond and trees and stuff like that. So it's visually it's hard to see the data center, but she's just a few hundred yards away, you know, her house, and she has like zero water pressure at this point because they suck up all the water to cool all the equipment and everything. So yeah, the news station came into her home and she's turning on the water and it's just full blast, full open, and it's just trickle, nothing. Oh man, I felt so bad. I'm like, yeah, this is not good. This is not good. Gumpa for Joy says, great answer, Tim. There are pros and cons. It's a civilization-altering change. Oh, without a doubt. Briggsy, what's going on, Briggsy? AI, all you can do is accept it and use it, or get left behind by it. All you really can do. Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing. I was watching a YouTube video the other day, and it was about AI, and a really good point that it made was that AI has essentially eliminated kind of low-bearing fruit, right? And what it meant by that, or what the guy meant by that, was that say if you are a designer, well, good designers are now in high demand, where the bad designers are getting replaced by AI. Where programmers and coders, if you're a good programmer or coder, you're in high demand. If you're not, you're getting replaced by AI. So there's that too. You kind of have to be skilled at your trade, you know? So yeah, if you're really good at something, then you're going to continue to be good at something, and you're going to be okay, right? But if you're one of the low-hanging fruit, then yeah, you may get cut. So yeah, it's one of those things. Gumpa for Joy, give it a prompt to ask your questions to walk you through the thought process. Yeah. And help you come up with ideas rather than just asking it to come up with ideas. Yeah, that's a really good point. You know, with AI, you kind of have to give it kind of an end goal, but then make it ask you questions, right? Something along those lines. Yeah. Giovanni says, hello, everyone. I'm late to the party. What's going on, Gio? We're talking about AI. We kind of got off on a tangent. Brandon says AI caught a breast tumor on my friend that the doctor missed. See, that is an incredibly positive part of AI, right? That's kind of what I was talking about, and that's amazing. That's an amazing thing. So, yeah, that's really good to hear. Lorenz says, do they even have regulations for generative AI? I'm not really caught up on recent news regarding it. Not really. The only regulation that I have seen in terms of generative AI here in the States is that you cannot copyright AI generated media, which is a good thing. So yeah, you can't copyright it, you can't trademark it, none of that. And that goes with, you know, any AI generated media, whether it be images, video, music, especially. So all of that, yeah, that's the only regulation nationwide that I'm aware of. I know there are some states that have enacted some regulations and things, but and I think China just passed a law that made it illegal to replace a human person with AI, which is commendable. So that's kind of cool. But yeah, I'm not sure about any of the other, you know, regulations that there may be. I think it's too early in the game, you know, to really kind of get our heads wrapped around what regulations would be needed at this point. So Goblet for Joy says to Lorenz, not really much. So far, it's mainly regulation about content created, not the tool or method creating it. Yeah. Let's see. Lorenz says, thanks. I do see AI posters saying their work is AI and not legit artwork. Yeah. Comfort for Joy says, yeah, I'm definitely against using it and claiming it was all original. Yeah, that's horseshit. You know, if you use AI, just state that you used it. It's not hard to tell, honestly. And it's funny because, like, Renee, my fiance, she'll send me something, you know, just off, you know, Instagram or something like that, and I'll be like, babe, that's AI. And she'd be like, what? Ah, shit. So funny. So funny. But it catches some people. Some of these generated things are becoming really tough, even for me. And I, you know, mind you, and I have that kind of, you know, artistic eye with, you know, a very high level of scrutiny. So, you know, I can usually pick out AI generated material, you know, fairly easy. But man, there are some that are getting really good. Really good. Lorenz says it sucks though because you see them in Gunpla Facebook groups without even stating it's AI. Yeah, and that's just a horseshit person, dude. That person themselves. That's just, yeah, that's trash. That's a trash person. Enrico says the potential this topic could have for an entire episode of Gunpla Talk, like back in the day with Zach, Josh, Simon, etc., would be such a cool one. Yeah, it would be, right? But I think that ship has sailed, unfortunately. All of us are doing our own thing at this point. So, Briggsy says, I used AI to make my logo. I had the design in the middle, but used AI to do the rest of it. I gotcha. Enrico says these Hyaku sets are from like 8 years ago. Oh, I gotcha. Since I got back in the hobby, I haven't had the chance to order some Mecha Decals, but I'll definitely get some later this year. Nice. Yeah, and I've been waiting for a moment to, you know, roll out the Mecha Decal little stinger there. So yeah, so let me play it for just one more time because I like it. Here we go. Yes. And then I made another one, and I'm going to show you guys here real quick just because I like it. It's for the Mecha Army. So when we get the memberships going on YouTube here and everything, if somebody signs up for that, I'll play this for them here. So here you go. Yeah, I love that. I love that. So anyway, that'll be down the line. Okay, so Lorenz, here we go. Visually, there's already 2 sketchbooks full of all my ideas I could use, but it's getting to the point where I'm drawing more than I'm building, and that's what I like to do. Okay, cool. So then in that case, we have a starting point, right? Dude, this is what I would say. One of my favorite pastimes is if I'm not kind of coming up with the ideas and everything, I will look toward books, concept art, what other modelers have done. What is it here? Hang on one second. Let me get you a website to look at. Hang on. There we go. It's called artstation.com. And we're going to go on a field trip, kids. Bear with me one second here. Let me get this pulled up, and I'm going to show you one of my favorite sites to brainstorm and everything, okay? Bear with me one second while I get logged in here. Okay, cool. All right, so let's go on a field trip. Hang tight. Let's get the display capture going. All right, there we are. And all right, so let me introduce you guys here to artstation.com. This is a wonderful, wonderful site. This is all kind of concept art and things. It is so freaking good because they've got everything categorized. You can look up science fiction, you can look up weapons, game art, vehicles, character modeling, character design, and right there, mecha, right? Let's click on that. Oh my God. Look at the cavalcade of ideas that are just at your fingertips. Just scrolling through this for 10 minutes. If that doesn't grease the wheels in your imagination, dude, I do not know what will. But I mean, there's just so much visual goodness in here. It's insane. I mean, look at this. That's the what is it? The Visargo from Gundam X. Beautiful, kind of just painterly type of thing, right? But then looking at something like this, I mean, look at this. You even get the 3D spin around. Oh, and look, you can stop it, start it. Look, and like, oh, these little circular details right here. That is beautiful. These little circular details here. Look at these little vents on the side. These little indent, these little floating notches. Just awesome looking, right? And just even some of, let's see, it only spins around. You can't look at the top. But I mean, look at some of these. Oh, all these gorgeous little details and stuff, right? Holy shit! Look at that. I mean, come on. That is that is insane. Just, yeah, there's so much goodness in here. Here's a Zaku. Look at this guy. Holy shit. Oh, that's the G-Duck version of the Zaku. Look at that. Holy crap. Fully realized in 3D, right? Man. And see, this is the thing. Like, this is, look at, and holy crap, like all of the surface layers that went into kind of making the final look of this thing. just sexy. Holy shit, man. What's this here? Oh, look at these silhouettes. Like, these are big, chunky boys. Look at that. My God. The chonk. Just beautiful work, right? I mean, here's just a hand. Look at that. Holy shit. Just amazing, right? Barbatos? Yeah. Look at this. Is this the only image? Yeah. There's the, what is that? The, oh, yeah, the AMP Defender from Avatar right here. Awesome. Freaking cool. And then, where is it here? Let's go back to weapons. Yeah, this is one of my favorites. Just looking at different weapon designs and stuff, right? What's this right here? Oh, shit, look at that. That's insane. Little wood inlay bullpup with gothic ornamentation. Holy crap. Like, that is incredible. Wow. Holy shit. Yeah, I mean, Predator Badlands. Yeah, look at this. The large circular saw. That's cool. The freeze ray. Hell yeah. And even these are just tools, right? But they can still kind of give you ideas, you know, in terms of like weapons and things like that. Like, this is a great site. What do we got here? Yeah, see, little sci-fi-ish, realistic-ish kind of weapons, right? Kind of steampunk-ish type of look to them. Dig it. I dig it. And then you got something like this, which is way futuristic. You know, got the drum mag, the whole 9 deal. There you go. Just, you know, lines, no shading. You can see the details in there. Super nice. And, you know, they got, you know, all sorts of weapons. So here's like a sword, or actually a knife. Just a beautiful kind of fantasy type of render. Really nice. What's this right here? Oh shit, look at this. Definitely leaned into the kind of futuristic alien style tech, right? You got the heavy spring on the butt for the recoil. I dig it. What's this here? A little video. Okay, here's the 360 of it. Jeez. So, yeah, man. Artstation.com. Hit it up. This is one of my favorite sites. Oh my gosh. Oh, look at that. Like, something like this shape would be killer on a mobile suit. Just the head of this axe is what I'm looking at, right? Something that shape would be awesome for like a goof, or like a gelgoog. Look at that thing. Yeah, that's wicked. Anyway. So, yeah. Artstation.com. If you've never gone there, man, hit it up. It is incredible. It is incredible. So, yeah. Let's see. Enrico says, the way I'd use AI is basically what we go by in education, with teachers being facilitators and not just hubs of knowledge. Teachers should point where to look, not what to see. Fair. That's fair. Excuse me. He said doing that with AI is a smart way of using the tool, since it should be just that, a tool or scaffold, and not a replacement for your brain. Good point, but I would also stress caution, because AI can, and often does, hallucinate. or give false information. I run into that all the time. All the fucking time. So, yeah. Giovanni says, I wrote a script. I think I might use AI program to turn it into a part mini-series. Interesting. Gumper for Joy, where do we buy your decals, Tim? Oh, well, let me play it again for you. Right at the bottom. There we go. Yeah, so USA Gundam, that's the easiest place to go. If you have a hobby town in your area, go check them out. A lot of those places carry the Mecha Decals. And for anybody in Australia, you can order them from Scotty through SMS, Scale Modeler Supply too. So, yeah. Enrico says, I want to get a few sets, but international purchase guidelines in Uruguay are insanely strict. Yeah, I've heard that. And you have to go, don't you have to go through like a middleman or something like that? I know Javier, Gumpa Uruguay has to do all that crap, and it's just, yeah, it sounds like a pain. He says, got to plan every purchase. We have 3 per year, so carefully, it's stressful. Yeah. Oof. That's rough, man. That's rough. That is rough. So, all right. Let's get back to camera 2. We kind of went down the tangent of AI and creativity and all that jazz. So let's kind of get back to this here and get to work here. So that see this line right here, it's kind of curving that way as I'm looking, straight down the line here. It just slightly curves that way, and I'm not sure why. That's so weird. Oh, that's why I had it down here so it wasn't 100% even. Okay. That was my own damn fault. All right. That makes a little bit more sense now. There we go. That fixed it. Okay, cool. So now, just eyeballing that. Those all 3 look good. Perfect. Okie dokie. So, with that being said, what I want to do is just something very kind of simplistic here. I don't want to go crazy. Yeah, so this is 1 by 1/2 millimeter strip. Very, very thin, very small. How long do we need here? So overall, this is 15 millimeter. So I'm thinking so if it's 15 millimeters, I don't want to go the whole length of it. I'm thinking 11, 12 millimeter. Have some good empty space on the on each side. Yeah, I think that's what we'll do. Lulu says, probably just gonna send it and build everything I really want for this build as it goes. I guess I forget I'm more of a builder, not a concept artist. Thanks, Tim, and everyone for their insight. Yeah, absolutely, dude. Like I said, man, you gotta... Inspiration is one of those things that doesn't always just come to you. Sometimes you have to seek it out, like there was this one day, with this build where I just didn't have the creativity in my head. It was blocked for me, right? So I know what that feels like, You know what I mean? Yeah, if you're kind of just kind of stuck, man, seek out that creativity. Take a break, breathe on it, think about it, let it sit for a day or so. Come back to it. You'll get there. You'll get there. Trust me. You will get there. So, all right. So let's go. Let's see what 12 looks like first, right? 12 millimeter. Let's get that locked in first and see what it looks like, because what I want to do is something a bit different here. Oh man, all right. Let's see. Right there. Okay. All right. First things first. There's that. Slide that out of the way. Okay. So there's our 3 little strips, right? Put those on the 1, 2, 3 block. Let's get that out of the way. Let's bring this back in to camera, and let's just look to see what this length looks like here. No, that's too long. That's too long. Okay, that's too long. What do we got this at here? Yeah, I mean, that's right at 12, so still just, it's a little long for my taste. It's a little long, so, all right. Let's cut it down to 11, like I had kind of mentioned before, and see what that looks like here. Yeah, okay. Yep, that's better. That's better. All right, cool deal. So let's get this end squared up here real quick, because it is not. There we are. And then let's get these 2 other strips cut to length. There we go. All right, so there are our 3 strips, right? Now, what I want to do with these strips is round off the ends. And we're just going to start by just freehanding, just bevel those edges. Actually, I kind of like that look. That's not bad. But again, that's not exactly what we want. So I'm just gonna round these off here. There we go. All right, so Let's get super zoomed in. There we go. Now, this end here is rounded. This end here is beveled, and I'm not sure, honestly, looking at it, that you can really tell the difference, so I may just leave it beveled, if I'm being real here. Yeah, fuck it, I'll just cut the corners off of it and leave it beveled, because I kind of like that look, honestly. So, just flattening these out here a little bit. There we go. All right. So that is, both ends are now kind of cut, beveled, looking good. Take a little bit off here. And then we'll do the same thing to the counterparts here. Just the tiniest little bit off the corners. There's that. Okay. Nice little fine details here. And we're kind of inching ever closer to the finer stuff, the sexy stuff, the stuff that's fun, right? At least fun for me. I love fine, intricate detailing. Yeah, it's just something about it. I love it. I absolutely love it. So, all right. So let's get this glued up here. And for this, we're going to use super glue. I thought it was uncapped, so, but it wasn't. All right. Alright, and then what we'll do is just lay these right on the line here. Yeah. Yeah. See, there you go. Very nice. Very nice. Perfect. Perfect. Okay. Very nice, very nice. So you can kind of see that starting to come to shape, right? It just a little, just that little added detail makes so much of a difference. let's see what this looks like on here. Oh yeah, I can tell it already. This is gonna look very, very nice. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Yeah. See, those little added details make a huge, huge difference. Now, obviously, there's going to be some glue squeeze out that we need to fix with this one. Yeah, that looks really, really good. Yeah. Oof. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. I like it. I like it a lot. I like that a lot. Oh, all right. Ever closer. Ever closer. We got a little bit of work done today. We had a good conversation about AI and everything and its uses and pitfalls, pros and cons, and all that good stuff. So, good stuff today, you guys. Good stuff today. Like I said yesterday, I'm going to be dicking around with the multi-streaming today. So if you see me live again, that's probably going to be why. Come on by, say hi. Yeah, I'm going to be messing with that today and testing it and everything. So just be aware of that. So, all right, you guys, good stuff. That's the only stream for today, aside from the testing that I'm going to be doing later. So yeah, good stuff today. Be safe out there. Have a good rest of your day. I'll see you tomorrow. Go build something cool. See you guys.